Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to the Drop Pod. I'm Jim.
And I'm Rob.
Rob? It's Bob.
Bob.
My days. It's a good job we don't do this for money, isn't it? Good evening, listeners. Thank you for joining us in the Drop Pod. As you can tell, we are excited about Blood Bowl. Absolutely. So, but good news, it's not all about Blood Bowl. Well, that's good news for some and bad news for others. So tonight, in the stadium, we will talk on the hobby desk. So some hobby has been going on, various colours have been used, and spiky balls painted. Read into that what you will. Then it's on into the Galaxy of War. There has been a deluge of new miniatures for us to talk about. In fact, we just kept writing stuff down when we were planning. So we go into the Mortal Realms. It's Malign Portents, and there may or may not have been some freaking elves. Oh my goodness. Lots of excitement. Hail to the community. Ben has been off wandering around to war game shows and remade Games Workshops.
Reforged.
Reforged.
Yeah,
Excellent. It was struck by a bolt of lightning and turned into a Warhammer store. Beautiful. So Ben has some stuff to say from there. And then into the wilds. Actually, I got some stuff about a tournament I'm going to, but I might not mention it. Depends how well it went. So then into the wilds, Ben managed to get a couple of interviews with the guys behind Piston Privateers and also Outlands. So lots of great stuff. Ben, are you even as marginally excited as I am?
Yeah, I am. Yes, definitely. After today, I'm fully psyched.
Good times. Well then, go grab some refreshments. Hot dog, popcorn, maybe a Bloodweiser. That's what it is, isn't it?
A Bloodweiser, yeah.
Cool. To the stands, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the P-Pod.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Hobby Desk. We've had a pretty crazy couple of weeks, cramming in loads of hobby this couple of weeks. So we're going to try and rattle our way through it. There's lots of ideas and new projects going on, so there's a lot of exciting stuff to talk about.
Loads and loads and loads.
In fact, so exciting that this is the second time we've recorded this because Dan got so excited he destroyed the file. So.
Do you know, when you opened up, I thought, is he going to mention it? Yep, there it is. So somewhere on the Tides of the Warp is the original version of this on the Hobby Desk segment.
Yep. And it was perfect.
And was it?
It would be like,
do you know, this is like tribute. This is like tribute.
This is a tribute. This is a tribute to the original Hobby Desk.
The greatest hobby desk in the world. This is just a tribute.
It's so true. Absolutely. So, primarily what both of us have been getting up to is, it's actually, you might have guessed from the intro, Blood Bowl. We've both managed to get ourselves a copy of the rather awesome game, haven't we, Dan?
We have indeed.
And we've both assembled the teams that are in it.
Yeah.
And I've managed to get together a Goblin team as well. As yet, I'm yet to get a game in.
You are unbloodied on the pitch.
I am. I'm hoping to do that very soon. So first thoughts about Blood Bowl, Dan, because you were a little bit, it's Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
I'll get involved because Ben is.
I wasn't that bothered, originally. And when it came around this time, it looked really good, but it's yet another thing. And then we spoke about it on the podcast, and I knew you were getting it for your birthday, and you were really excited.
I got very excited at Tenebris, didn't I?
You did get very excited at Tenebris. And then, when I went for a family day out, I went into Warhammer Cardiff and saw Steve, who I've not seen for ages. And after chatting to him for so long that my wife and then later my mum came in to get me out of the shop. I bought the box set, got it home, built both the teams. The models are amazing.
They are stunning,
aren't they?
Just
amazing, aren't they? They're really good. And
considering they're pushed together ones.
Yeah, really good. I suppose the only thing, it's a little bit of a shame because it's just 2 duplicate sprues, which whilst that's clever, it means, like, for example, I've got 2 Black Orcs that look identical. But then again, the price point on the Blood Bowl stuff is incredible.
Yeah, and it means that they can roll out a team with
quicker,
a minimum amount of design input, doesn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, the models are still awesome. So yeah, I'm doing the gouged eye because I wanted to do Skaven because they're fast, but I promised Harriet that no models would be purchased during February because I've just been buying models and I'm not getting them all done. And
he already looks like a cast member from Trainspotting because of that. 3 days in, cold sweats.
I know, it's amazing. I think it's a damning indictment, really, of how hard I am finding it. It's because I've had, like, this idea, like, I was like, right, I won't get the Skaven because I'll concentrate on the gouged eye and the Orcs, and then I'll, so I went online and I looked up some tactics. Got told Tom's mocking me for net listing, but I looked up some tactics and I was like, oh, I need some goblins. I'll get some oh no, I can't. Oh no. I was like freaking out. Then I messaged you. I was like, dude, you got any spare goblins?
I got loads of spare goblins, but not Blood Bowl goblins.
But that's okay. That's okay. I'll cope. And Valentine's Day is coming. And Harriet asked me what I'd like. And I said, I'd like some goblins. And I said, what would you like, Harriet? And she said, I would like to spend some time with you. Boom.
Oh, mate, that was such a trap. Falling for it like a schoolboy.
Yeah, but it'll be worth it if I get some goblins. That's 11 days from now, though. That is 11 days. How am I going to do that?
I don't know. Sit on your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've played
how was your first game?
Yeah, played 2 games. I played Ben first. And that was a 1-1 draw because of 1 dice, which would have given me the victory, but I rolled a 1 and I had no rerolls. And, then I played Tom and he beat me 2-0 and we stopped halfway through the second half because it was getting late and there was no way that I could come back. But yeah, it's a brutal game. Like, the dice can really shiv you.
Yeah, but I love the way that reflects real sport where in 1 second you can lose or win a game.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with how Blood Bowl captures real sport.
I can't tell whether you're being sarcastic or not.
I am.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Yeah, it's just one of those games because you don't roll as many. When you roll 40 dice,
yeah,
you know, some of them are going to come up as you want. But when you're just rolling 2, there's always that chance that they won't. So,
well, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, isn't it? Or any role playing game, and you've got your hero, and he's a master swordsman in your mind, or a axe wielding legend, and he goes up to fight his goblin, and then he rolls a flipping 5 or something. You're like, what? And you've only got that 1 dice, and if it curses you, then that's it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
very good. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next match. I haven't got one organised yet, but I want to keep working through. I'm actually we did paint night over Skype, didn't we? So
we did.
I joined.
We did do
paint night on a Tuesday, and I joined over Skype for an hour. Well, actually, it was supposed to be an hour, but it was 2 hours because I was enjoying it too much, and so I've been painting. I've made my Orc Blood Bowl team like my Tuesday night hobby team because I said to you that I wanted to do something different. But I find it quite hard. I like to do this project, then that project, then that project. But sometimes that, you do feel a bit bogged down. So I'm trying to break it up. So doing them on a Tuesday. And we've been considering doing, Google Hangouts, haven't we? And getting a few more people involved. Maybe once a month.
So, it'd be quite cool to have some feedback on that, guys. So we've been thinking of setting up a Google Hangout, and doing a painting night once a month. And then if there's enough people, people can just drop in and sit and paint with us for a bit and chat. We'd like that. We love seeing what people get up to, because it reminds us of being staff members when we sat and paint with customers, and you just swap ideas and just generate just awesome concept. So we'd love to do that. But, if people aren't really interested, then
we'll feel like loners.
We'll feel like loners. But give us some feedback. Tell us what you think, and we'll see what we can do.
Yep. Yep-a-dee-doo. So,
because it was quite effective, you Skyping in.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Apart from my webcam is not wide angle, so you just got to stare at Marcus for the whole night.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
It was like it's like a romance developing. Love is in the air. I saw you across the table. No, it's good. It was good fun. It's good fun.
So that's Blood Bowl, and then I've also done the...
no, we can move on to me now, because all the rest of it's just chaos shit we don't need to hear about. So,
mate, we can move on to you, but you know full well I will just interrupt.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. So...
Right, so, unfortunately, let's hear about the chaos.
So I finished the Hellbrutes.
I think they look fab, mate.
Thanks, dude. I'm really pleased. They're different enough, each one, to keep me happy.
Yeah.
I still haven't gone and done like any weathering or extra weathering or stuff on them, which I will do. It's all on the list, but at the moment it's that balance between finished and nice playable finished.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never seen a dreadnought look like it's in a squad before. So
yeah, I needed to do some batch painting on dreadnoughts, and I've mixed up a 3-to-1 gloss to matte.
You still got it wrong.
Yeah,
you got this wrong in the original.
Yeah, it's
and you still haven't decided.
Gloss to matte. So it's 1 part matte, 3 parts gloss for putting through the airbrush, and I've used that for the varnish. And I've gone back over the rhinos that I did with Tester's dull coat, because they were looking so distinctly different from the rest of the force.
Yeah, it was really noticeable when you got them out for Tenebris.
Yeah, so, and that's actually pulled them back a lot closer, which is nice. It's given it the red appears a bit deeper, which is cool.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to do the same thing on the Khitan, but I'm really considering, after Warhammer World, and buying an inordinate amount of bark chip-ins, not chip-ins, bark, like, sections, like cliff face making bark, by accident, doing... with the Khitan is basically pulling him apart and reposing him to get him looking a bit more dynamic.
No, I'm vetoing that.
Why?
You can't, because that poor Khitan has been chucked around, thrown downstairs, fallen off of shelves. It's been maltreated by you. It deserves to stay together. Just lift him off and redo the base. Yeah, sure, but leave the poor bugger alone.
I'll just wait until he inevitably falls. Do you know what will happen? It'll be the summer, straight out the bloody window. That's what will happen. I know it will happen, because he's always getting boshed.
Well, wait until that happens, and then you've got an excuse. Otherwise, that's just...
Nah, I need to. I want to pull his legs apart and put them back together like a bit more sort of, I'm going to get you.
Oh, my days.
Whereas at the moment, he looks like he's a cross between a dynamic pose and giving a high five or a wave. So that might happen. And I started painting a Nurgle Herald.
You did. I love that. I love that. I really do. I'm so glad that you found a quick concept for your Nurgle that looks that good, because it's really awesome.
Thanks, man. I'm very pleased so far.
Talk us through that process, because it looks amazing, and you haven't done a great deal, really, have you?
No. So, what I got to remember what I did now. I should write these things down. I used to, so I will start doing that. So basically, I sprayed him black completely. Then I sprayed him from 45 degrees and the top with Corax white. And then I sprayed him with Nurgling green through the airbrush, watered down all over. But
That's quite a light green.
Yeah, very light. So, but it's really important. And some of you will have obviously grasped this straight away, but some might not know that green, you're not looking to get it a solid colour, the same all over. So the point behind the pre-shading with the black and the white is to have it lighter at the top and darker at the bottom. So I did that. When that was done, I then sprayed the sort of guts and wounds with Vallejo Game Air Warlock Purple, I think. Something like that. It's very similar to Games Workshop's Warlock Purple. But anyway, purple.
Of old.
So, of old, yeah. Which I found 6 pots of in a little drawer in the hobby zone the other day. But there we are. Don't know why I got that.
I think a Screamer Pink is probably the closest thing to it now.
Yes. Yes, it is. But I was sat next to my Game Air colours and I spotted one and I was like, well, I'll have that. So I sprayed that in there. Then I've dry brushed him all over. And now this I was shocked by. So I used Terminator's Skull, which is a dry paint. Now, if you'd asked, or Terminator's Stone, sorry. And I was never really into the dry paints, as you know, we've spoken about them before. It was really good. It was actually really good. I was very impressed. So I used that all over. Quite a heavy dry brush of that all over. And then Athonian Camo Shade.
Yeah, that's the one. Athonian Camo Shade.
Athonian Camo Shade. Just a minute. I'm just having a look because there's a few colours, isn't there?
There's Celia and Celia Green Shade.
Green Shade. And Athonian. I'm pretty sure it was Athonian Camo Shade. Bloody Nora, I do need to write this down. Right, Athonian Camo Shade all over. Oh, before I did that, I did paint all the horns Baneblade brown. So then it was Athonian Camo Shade all over except for the horns, which I then went in and put Agrex Earthshade on. And while it was still wet, I popped some Druchii Violet around like the sores and things. And Carroburg Crimson into all the guts. And then when it had dried, I got Lamenter's Yellow and put on the pustules and on the little Nurglin. So he's like a light green.
Lamenter's Yellow? Yeah. That's a yellow glaze.
Yellow glaze, yeah. And then I've glazed the whole thing with Waywatcher Green. Nice. And that's where he is so far. It sounds like a lot.
It looks amazing.
Things, but it's quite quick.
Yeah.
So that's him so far. So the things I want to finish doing now is I'm just putting some highlights onto like the horns and stuff. Then I will paint the
bronze and stuff, yeah.
Now, this is a question for you then. So with the oxide, should I do that and then varnish him? Yeah?
Yes.
And then, because then I'll put the blood for the blood god on afterwards.
You can do the varnish and then do the oxide if you're keen on textures, because copper oxide is quite dry looking compared to the verdigris is quite it's quite dry looking in reality. So it depends, but I don't think it's too noticeable if you do it and then varnish it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's him. I'm hoping to finish him over the next week. It's actually been really nice painting something a bit different.
Yeah. I said it would be.
Yeah, you did. You were right.
I'm occasionally right.
Anyway.
Well, there you go. We've done the whole hobby desk on you. 17 minutes. Look at that.
That is heroic. So, you have 2 minutes. Go.
Oh, where do I start? So, like I said, mainly for me, it's been about putting stuff together for my birthday. So, put together Blood Bowl. That was pretty cool. My brother got me a troll. That's gone in.
You loved that as well, didn't you?
It's one of those models where if you look at the picture, it didn't do anything for me. But I wanted one in the team to give it a bit of sort of size variation. It's 19 pieces. There's 3 pieces on each foot. Each foot has 3 pieces. Crazy.
That's mad, isn't it?
But it's beautiful when it's together. It's really, really nice. So I'm really happy with him. And the special or secret weapons, they're 3 great models as well. They were a bitch to put together though, because they were to get them strong enough that I knew they weren't going to fall apart. like the Fanatic nightmare. But it's done. There's enough pins in those to hold them together forever. Other than that, I've been putting together my Orruks. I put together my Necromunda gangs. Escher, which is the gang I want to follow through. Although every time they bring out a gang, I'm looking at them thinking, God, they're so nice.
I'm just saying
amazing.
Now, dibs on the Van Sar.
Well, you can have them.
Okay. Because they're getting spiders. Mechanical spiders.
But I'm not painting them. So, and I put together the Ramshackle Games models, which were challenging. As quite a lot of resin models are, but they've turned out quite nice in the end. Quite a shiny plastic, shiny plasticky resin. Find Forge World resin quite nice and almost ceramic-y.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Talking about, I put together Slime Arvo the 30th edition Space Marine.
Yeah, and you've been doing some airbrushing, haven't you?
I have. So my Iron Jaws army, for me, was all about getting to grips with the airbrush. So the whole point of them, it was going to be learning to use my airbrush. So I've done a base coat of Steel Legion Drab, all over, solid coat. I tried it over black and white, and it didn't make a great deal of difference. So I've done it with black, just because it might give it a bit more depth. Mm-hmm. Then I've gone over that with Carrack Stone and then Pallid Witch Flesh. And I think they look great. I'm really chuffed with how they've turned out.
I think they're fantastic. Really good. Especially with the where you used paint to do a nice shiny base.
Yeah, well, paint on the computer. Yeah. Because you said, I can't tell what it's going to look like with a white base. It doesn't make any sense. So I drew it on in paint on the computer at work quickly. But, I learned a lot with that, mate. It was a really steep learning curve. I was getting the mix too thin at one point, and then it was too thick at another point. And I learned so much about the trigger action and how to use it. And after spending a whole evening doing them, I got quite happy with them. Surprised by how much paint that brush uses to do its job. Actually, I was surprised by that. So the big thing for me, the real kind of, why I felt like a door had been opened and my life was going to be made 1,000,000 times easier by this new piece of equipment, was I had a go on some of my Primaris Space Wolves. So I've already done a grey base coat, a grey primer, and then washed them with a 50-50 mix of, then sort of glazed them with rust grey, which I probably won't do next time. And then washed them with a 50-50 mix of Drakenhof Nightshade and Nuln Oil. And then I've airbrushed them or one of them, and I think it's come out so well. I'm so happy with it because it's got a nice smooth base, and it will save me so much time. Probably in the future, I will literally just spray base them with Fang and then highlight that. I don't think it will look too much different. And then I've gone back in and sort of pin washed the creases that were lost in the spraying. But really chuffed with that, because that for me will speed up my painting of Space Marines no end. And
you have one or two to do.
I do have a fair few, yeah. Because I think if you can get the armour done on Space Marines, because when I did my Iron Snakes, it was all about easy plate. So they were literally bolt gun metal, and then 2 or 3 washes of what would have been Badab Black.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff was done. I did, in places I didn't even sort of sort out the pooling, so there's sort of pooling marks on some of them, which is a bit sloppy, but when you're painting 100 of them, I was willing to accept that.
Yeah.
But if I can get the armour done as quick as that, but to a much better standard because of the airbrush, I am all over that. I am so happy about that. Because I can then focus on other parts of the wolf. With my wolves, I will probably still fine highlight the edges to give them that bit of extra stuff. But, really excited about that.
Good.
So the Orruks one of the things I want to do with the Orruks is really, because we've talked a lot about basing, and looking at Ben Chambers' army that got into the cabinets at Tenebris, he's such a good baser. He really is. And I wanted to sort of move on, because I took it a bit further with my Space Wolves, and now I want to take it a bit further with my Orruks. So I'm going for a European woodland kind of look. And I'm going to do it. The
next army is going to be Sylvanian families.
Because I want them to be kind of realm of life, realm of beasts. So, but to make them kind of a little bit more sinister, the woodland a bit more sinister, I'm going to put skulls on the base first, and I bought a pack of the Games Workshop skulls today. I'm going to put them on the base, then cover the base in Stirland mud, and paint the skull, so it just looks like it's coming out of the soil a little bit. And I thought that would fit with the Malign Portents theme.
Yeah, and obviously go towards your clear worship of chaos that you haven't unveiled to the world yet, but is definitely happening.
Yep. So that's that. And then I'm going to use dried herbs for some leaf scatter. I'm going to use some gamer's grass, like little tufts.
Yeah.
Maybe a few flowers.
Many really good ones.
They do. I'm thinking of actually rebasing my Space Wolves to use their winter tufts.
Yes.
Before I get too far with the army.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's another thought entirely. Going to put a few flowers and a few laser cut ferns on some of the bigger bases, and a bit of lichen here and there to make them look really kind of sort of brackeny undergrowthy. And I think that'll look pretty good.
Yeah, it will. It will look good.
And a few branches.
The thing is, you have to watch out though. If Ben Chambers does visit your house, don't let him in the garden, because it just steal everything. He runs off with the twigs and all of the little stones. I was building a rockery until he visited.
You have seen my garden though.
Yeah, that's true actually.
It's just grass.
Yeah. Soggy grass.
Yeah, soggy grass. No, thanks, Barrett's Homes. For my soggy back garden. But one of the things I wanted to do, because I'm really in love with the Gore Grunters, and before we repeat the conversation about how I look like a Gore Grunter, I'm going to head you off on that one.
Who would say such a thing?
I wanted to do them so they look like they're running through water or mud and have like splashes coming out of their feet, because I think that would give them a real kind of energy.
You really liked those, didn't you? I remember you got really excited when you were building them. They're
so good. I'm absolutely in love with them.
I think it's because of the aesthetic similarities between you and them.
Yeah. What, the Orruks, Dan?
No, the Gore Grunters, Ben.
Yes, perhaps. Maybe. But then, there you go. That's kind of the hobby desk in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Feels like
a quick whiz through the hobby desk in half an hour.
Yeah. So lots of building for me, and but I feel like I've made a hobby breakthrough with the airbrush. I really do. Really, really do.
That's good. I'm pleased.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
One other thing, slight little thing that I nearly forgot. I've been working on my Reavers a little bit on Tuesday nights.
Oh yeah.
Sort of as my Tuesday night project on painting night. They're coming on quite well, so I put the transfers on them this Tuesday. So now I can go in and start weathering and doing the highlighting. They're kind of coming along really nicely actually. The blacks come up a bit because I've used Thunderhawk, Dark Reaper, and I've kept the grey at the fang.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna highlight it in rust grey, whereas with the rest of my Space Wolves I take it to rust grey and highlight it with Fenrisian grey. So they're a whole shade darker. They don't pop off the table, so they're not going to win any painting competitions. But when you get down and look at them, they look all right. But I think they really fit the characteristic of the Reavers. I wanted them to be dark, sinister, kind of night prowling, wolves that hunt you when you don't expect it, kind of thing, and come out of the bushes and scare the crap out of you, covered in blood. Blood for the Blood God might get used a lot, because I really quite like the idea of them being terror troops.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the hobby desk.
Excellent.
So now,
Rather epic
now we're going to
hobby
go
desk.
away, and Dan is going to press save correctly, so we don't have to do this for a third time, aren't you, Dan?
Yes, Ben.
Alrighty,
guys, grab some refreshments. We actually need some, having recorded this twice. And we will see you in the Galaxy of War. Welcome back, listeners. The pod thunders ever onwards with the Blood Bowl team inside through the Galaxy of War. So what?
It's a bit cramped in here with your Orc team, mate.
Yeah,
They smell as well.
not so bad with your Goblin team
Nah.
hiding in the circuitry. So anyway, lots of flipping awesome stuff, eh?
Well, there's almost so much that I don't even know where to start, dude. I mean, it's like
So we were making notes, weren't we? And then and we moved on, and then you were like, "Wait a minute, there's a whole new flipping knight."
Yeah, we'd forgotten about it.
Yeah,
So I mean, let's start with the codexes.
yeah,
There's not going to be. So we've got our three kind of big Xenos codexes coming out. I mean, we've already had Tyranids, but and the Eldari, but now we're going to have Necrons, Tau, and Drakari. Really looking forward to those because I'm quite interested to see the character of them.
yeah. And Tau have been one that, I mean, I know obviously the internet is a sandbox, but the people, the general feeling I've got is that Tau have suffered a bit so far in 8th.
Yeah, they have, because they were doing ridiculously well in 7th.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
that's true.
notable that they've been brought back down a peg because they were preposterous in 7th.
Yeah.
So
And it'll be interesting to see Necrons, because a friend of mine, Dan Cottle, who is all the way over in Maidenhead, has got a Necron army, and it's growing at quite the pace. So I'm quite excited to see what the Necrons get and what that does for his collection.
yeah, because they've released a model to go with that one.
Yeah, there's a new kind of Cryptek Goner spider leg thing. That's what it's going to be called. It's quite a long name to fit on the clan pack, but it'll do.
Yeah, he looks really nice. So it's nice to see that they're trying to release models. They're trying to give everything something. I know they can't with everything because they can only produce so much, but yeah, it's nice to see a model for that. I'm quite interested to see whether they take the lore of the Ynnari on a little bit with the Drakari Codex. And I'm very interested to see what the Tau and Necrons, because they've had nothing to do with the Gathering Storm and all of that. What's happened to them? How are the Tau dealing with this massive new space problem?
The Necrons were, well, not the Necrons. Trazian the Infinite was involved a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I don't consider him a Necron in many ways. Well, as in, he is a Necron, but he's not part of the Necron,
Dynasties.
band, essentially. Yes. They were involved in Baal, so there's a bit there. But, so, interesting to see where they take the lore with those three more than anything, for me, but then that's hardly surprising. And let's move on to the Knight, dude.
So you're not sure about the Knight
I am.
Oh no,
well
yeah,
sure
but
about the Knight.
but why though? That you said to me the other day you couldn't get it.
No, I can't.
No,
I can't do things like Knights in a sensible way because when I got one Knight, that was fine because one Knight is one Knight, but it kind of has to work down in twos. So for a Knight, I'd want two of these Knights. So if I had two bigger Knights, I'd need four. So in my head, I'd need a Warhound for every two Knights. But if I then got a Reaver, I'd need two Warhounds, which means I did four Knights and 8 of these. So
but then I did point out, so for me, a mana pull is a Warlord, a Reaver, and two Warhounds. That's what I would be getting. Wow. I'd love to get that for 40k.
Yeah.
If I hadn't sold my soul to Chaos and become a heretic, and I had instead done exactly what I'm doing, but for Imperial, that's what I would aim towards. It'll be interesting though, because I like these Knight Armingers, because it's all like barons and households, isn't it? So
yeah,
I kind of like the idea of having like one knight with its colour scheme, and then treating like the little knight a bit like a squire, so it's got elements of the same colour scheme. And then you might have another one where there's one knight but with two of those Armingers, and another knight with three of them or something, rather than 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mix it up a bit with the colour schemes and things. Yeah, that's quite exciting actually. Knight army.
Really, really fab looking model that though.
Yeah, it is.
It's meant to be slightly bigger than the Redemptor Dreadnought. So.
Oh, is it? I thought it was bigger than that. Oh, interesting.
Well, the Redemptor Dreadnought is massive, mate. So it's sort of somewhere between the Redemptor Dreadnought and the Knight.
Yes, that's true. I suppose the Redemptor is pretty big.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Oh, the Redemptor. Sorry, I was thinking of Contemptor.
No, the Redemptor, the big Primaris one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is massive.
Yeah, which is massive, yeah.
So that's the 40k stuff. I mean, that's not small in its own right, really. And there's loads to talk about there, and we could talk about that for hours. But I think today we've just been literally slapped in the face by Forge World.
Yeah, so I've got to talk about Valdor. I flipping love it. It's so good. The first time I saw it, it looked far too busy. But when the Warhammer community team put up their more detailed picture, and I got it up large in front of me, it's just excellent.
It is
excellent. It captures sort of the regal majesty and badassery of him so well. I just think it's superb.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Yeah. Really nice to see that from Forge World, to be honest.
One of the things that's really interesting about him is actually it wouldn't take a great deal of changing to make him into a Stormcast.
No, true.
His armour shape is very, very similar. So if you got rid of like just a few of the Imperial kind of obvious Aquillas, and pipe work, which there isn't a great deal of, he could very easily be Stormcast.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool. I'm sure we'll see something like that come out.
Yeah.
And Dawn.
Yeah. So,
Dawn.
Man, I love Dawn. I can't get over his hair. But I don't know if that's the way it's painted. It looks a bit like a sheep.
I think when you've got a white background like that, it could be quite easy to lose the detail in the white hair. So I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt until I see the resin pictures of him.
Yes, yeah. But I love, like, his stance. He's got that stoicism going on. Oh.
Well, he looks to me like he gives absolutely zero shits.
The joys of having a PG podcast. You're like, that was brilliant, man.
Trying to search for a word, yeah. I mean, he's surrounded by dead Alpha Legion. Not Alpha Legion, Night Lords. And he's just standing there like, yeah, is that really all you've got? Because if there's nothing more, I'm bored. Just leave Terror and go home.
He's poised in like he's got that stoicism and that immovable rock, but you can see, like, in an instant that blade could be moving.
Yeah.
It is superb. I really like it, and it actually makes me appreciate Guilliman more as well, because the Guilliman one, when it came out, I was a bit disappointed at the fact that it wasn't like in a combat pose. But this has made me reflect on him and the fact that it captures Guilliman more, like his persona, that sculpt.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's an excellent model. Really, really impressed. Which is not a great thing, because unfortunately, Ben James has been saying he's excited about White Scars again, because they are now going to be in the next book.
Yeah.
And then Tom is just permanently excited about the Heresy anyway.
Yes, he is.
So that...
You might need to start painting salamanders.
Yeah, well, I've still got a few to do, so that's all right. I can do that.
So I'm going to move up. I'm going to move up the page. I don't want to rush you, but we do need to rush a little bit because we've got to fit in your battle reports of how you won
or lost
some of your games. No, let's be positive. We've got to fit in your battle reports about how you crushed everything at Wintertide. So, the Custodes models, stunning.
Yeah.
The Vagyars, the least said about them, the better, frankly, especially compared to the Alpha Legion Terminator, which just looks stunning. And actually has a pistol grip on his weapon, so it's not impossible for them to do that. I'm just pointing that out. And that's as much bitching as I'm going to do on that subject tonight. And right next to him is Alfarius. Oh, so good. And all you can see is his helmet, and it's so good.
Yeah. Be interested to see how big he is, actually, because he was more like the size of a normal Marine, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Well, not much bigger. Maybe a few inches taller.
Yeah.
Yeah. But certainly not like the extra head on, or head and shoulders above everyone else.
No. I love this termite mole thing. That is just fantastic. Oh, that is the Imperial mole, yeah. And the termite, oh, mate. It's so good. And that little land speeder.
You probably no surprise to you, but that land speeder just made me so happy I could barely contain my excitement.
I knew it.
Because I love land speeders, and I love the Rogue Trader land speeder, and then they've gone and thrown that out of nowhere. It looks so good as a reimagining.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's so good. How those poor dudes stay in their seats is another thing entirely.
I love that you put that picture up, didn't you? And somebody's, how did this get past health and safety?
Yeah. It's so they can leap off and punch people in the face if they need to.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Loads of new doors for Alpha Legion and Salamanders.
Salamanders in there.
There's a wicked looking Mechanicum thing.
Oh, that bloke.
With like 40 legs.
Yes.
And 3 tails. It's called...
Magos Dominus Anacaris Scoria. One of the founding fathers of the Dark Mechanicum. So he's obviously... That is a flipping fantastic model.
Yeah, there's so much that's going to be a nightmare to paint.
He's going to be good. He's got like a dark matter lance, a dark lance thing.
Yeah.
Up there. And what I really like about that, founding father of the Dark Mechanicum, and then you look at him and you think about the Defiler.
Yes.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That is excellent. So I'm assuming, because he's a named character, and people are probably screaming and thinking, you idiots. But he must appear in the Heresy series somewhere that I've not read yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or listened to yet. Talking of which, very briefly, I am literally just listening to the bit where Horus... I suppose this is a spoiler, so stop listening if you really don't want to know, but most people will know this. Horus is virus bombing Istvan 3.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's good, isn't it?
It's not good. It's horrendous. But anyway, so yeah, that's very emotionally moving for me.
There's a new knight.
Huh?
A new knight? A Castus Knight variant?
Oh, the Mechanicum one?
Yeah. So that's pretty
with
cool.
Big gun things.
We've done that.
What's
Imperial Guard tank.
What's this little guy for Necromunda? He's got like sunglasses on.
I don't know. He looks awfully like a race that doesn't exist anymore.
It does, doesn't it? Like a dwarf, but in space.
A dwarf but in space. I'm sure Games Workshop did those.
A dwarf in space.
I'm so excited about him, dude.
A squat, man.
There's a squat. They did it. They finally did it.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's
Good
brilliant.
for them.
And what a fantastic video.
Yeah.
Really good, wasn't it?
So there's loads of cool stuff like being hinted at for Necromunda. We've got the Huntress, which is basically the Escher from the cardboard cutout. We've got a Goliath Bounty Hunter, a Goliath King, the Escher Queen. I don't know who that dude is. Bounty Hunter, Eros Slagmist, and Belladonna. Amazing. These names are amazing.
Great, isn't it?
Really excited about those. I mean, I think I've really enjoyed Necromunda. Still enjoying Necromunda. The Orruk models are so nice that I could accidentally buy a gang of them, and I've never really been into Orruk. This is going to be the problem, though. Every single gang they bring out, I'm going to fall in love with, because the sculpts have been so good. So, absolutely loads of sneak peeks, and they are not even on day 2.
Yeah.
So we should see more tomorrow, which we won't be able to talk about, because we can't see into the future, but unsurprisingly. So really excited about those releases. 40k is, I still think, going from strength to strength at the moment.
Oh, the whole lot is, it's awesome. It's difficult to know where to turn next, isn't it? But yeah, it is brilliant. Really good. Really good to see. Lots of fantastic stuff. So,
so now we're going to head on to your battle report.
Yeah. So through the magic of the warp and our superior technological skill, we are gonna now go.
Given what happened for the hobby desk, dude.
Absolutely. We're gonna go live to find out how I've got on at Wintertide. So I'm off to Wintertides in the morning. The army is packed behind me. I've printed my list so I can't change it again.
He's changed it. He's literally changed it every half an hour for the last 3 days and every day before that.
Yeah, I've changed it quite a lot. I've been and ahhing, and I've decided to take the demons out completely because I think they cost too many command points, and you either have to commit to it completely, which means not taking the Hellbrutes, which I've just painted, or not do it at all, I've decided. So I may be bemoaning that in the next 5 minutes. But we shall see how it goes. 7 command points.
Oh, wow. Where did you get your 7th from?
Yeah, so I put the Hellbrutes in a Vanguard detachment.
7's a lot, actually. Talk through that. So you've got 3...
So you get 3 anyway.
Anyway, you got 3 for a battalion, and then you got your Vanguard detachment.
Yeah, so bear in mind, like when I went last time, I had 3 in total. Yeah, it was awful. So, planning to use stratagems. I've put in 24 cultists, so that if I want to, I can use Tides of Traitors to pop up behind people, and grab an objective. So that'd be quite cool. And also distract a little bit. And then I've gone for a really base level Chaos Lord, to get the reroll 1s on the Dreadnoughts. Really, I want to have my command points for like little stratagems where I need them, rather than burning them away, getting those demons in.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, you know, I've no idea who I'll be drawn against, what scenario I'll be playing, but it would be really nice not to come second to last this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, awesome. Guys, thank you for joining Ben and I on this bit of the Galaxy of War. And now we'll find out how it actually got on. Right, hello, and welcome through the medium of podcasting to the future, which is actually the past by the time you guys listen to this. So, as you know, I have been off to Wintertides, and I've been with Substitute Ben, who is sat next to me, And he's shaking his head at that.
I'm not even
the man, the legend of tanks, Mr. Tom Pedder-Smith is with me. So for the first time. So Tom, welcome to the podcast. Substitute Ben, welcome back. Thank you.
Give me something I said as substitute Ben.
Sorry. So we've just come back, set up the podcast stuff and started to record this. So some awesome things today from Winter Tides at Bristol Independent Gaming. So Ben won Best Painted Army. So well done, mate. Very good.
Thank you
very much.
Nice thing to...
Thank you. I just thanked you. I don't
Thank
know
you
why,
for winning.
Thank you for winning. Thank you for something we can talk about. That's ace. So, well done. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's really cool to be honest. It's my first 40k finished army, so it's really cool to have something that people recognise that have put a lot of work in and tried to develop the army as I go through it.
Starting to rack up the painting accolade.
I don't know about that. There's a couple so far, which is really cool. Be nice to try and push on with the next projects and aim to try and win things with stuff. It's nice.
And you're going to have a go at Golden Demon?
Yeah, as you've told everyone else now.
Yeah.
I'll tell everyone on here. Yeah, I'm well aware that I'm not near the standard to win a Golden Demon yet, but I'd like to try and push it. And by entering is the way that makes me do that. Yeah. Put something in that I'm happy that I've put enough effort in, anyway.
So, how did the weekend go then for the force? So you took Mechanicum?
Yeah, I took a Mechanicum list. For those of you who care about lists, I got the a battalion and a spearhead. I was a bit cheeky and took Styges 8 for the battalion and took Mars for spearhead purely so I could use one Mars stratagem. Lets me get to do mortal wounds, which I think I did on your massive walker one time.
Maybe. Yes.
But I managed to get 2 wins and a loss throughout the 3 games, which was quite cool. The first one was against a chap who had a Custodes army, which he told me finished building about 3 o'clock last night. Tough as nails. There's just not enough of them.
He had some of the jet bikes, didn't he?
Yeah, they did everything on that army. Once you've got a detachment of them, their booster and vulnerable save, the wounds, they take a hell of a lot of firepower to kill. A hell of a lot. So it's really cool to see him in action, but managed to get the win. He just didn't have enough units to get the Maelstrom objectives. That was the thing that let him down with that, I believe.
So the fact it was Maelstrom missions let him down. We'll remember that.
Oh dear. Second one was against Liam, who is on Insta as Adeptus Bristodicus, I believe. He's working on Mechanic Army. He had played his guard with a couple of assassins, and that was a real close game. It went to end of turn 6, and he won that. He got enough points in the last couple of turns, but none of us got any objectives until towards the end of turn 2. It was very close. It was really cool to play guard. They got even more firepower than my Mechanicus. Bonkers how much they've got.
2P's Ben and I were on the receiving end of some horrendous Astra Militarum firepower up at Tenebris, so yeah, not surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah, it was quite cool. It was a well-balanced list anyway. I mean, they had quite a lot of infantry to go with it as well, too. Yeah, just very different to play. I haven't played them in 8th, so very cool to see. And the final one was against a fellow Mechanicum player, against a lad called Tom from Bridgewater, and it was down to turn... I got the points I needed to win in turn 6. I played turn 7, and he just didn't have enough models left at that point to get enough. And he got unlucky with the Maelstrom objectives as well. I got quite lucky in the last 2 turns, so that won that. I think combined, we had 7 models left between us on the last turn, and nearly all of them were characters. It was very cool. He was a nice young lad to talk to and see what he's doing with his hobby and stuff like that. But first time I've been on the receiving end of what Mechanicus can do, especially those Dakabots. And now see why you guys don't like them.
You've got some self-reflection moments.
Yeah, they're a little bit mental.
And what did you think of it overall, event-wise? What did you like, or what would you change?
It's a pretty intense, one day to do 3 games, I suppose, much like it was the first day to Tenebris. We all felt pretty tired in a bit, but it was cool to do it. Cool to see the different ones. I have to be honest, I'm a little bit of a sucker for having painted armies at events. I would like to see... A lot of guys did have them painted, but there was a few who would be nice to... They've got fantastic models, just put a little bit of paint on them. It'd be really cool. Yeah. They've got some lovely models out there, and you can see what for the other ones in the army, they will get there. It'd be nice to see it for the event.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think... I go away with what I've seen from match play and competitive match play. I do feel there should be an element of potentially limiting what detachments can be taken. I'd quite like to think all armies should have to take a battalion.
Yeah, so you're limited. You must take no more than 3 at that points level anyway. But yeah, it can be any.
Yeah, it can be any. And I know for a Games Workshop let you take anything like that, but I wondered if it would be fairer. Like we saw a list this weekend, which was they just custode jet bike spam, which was just, and it was just them as far as I was aware. It's lots and lots of them, and while it's very cool, I know it's a tournament, so the theme goes out the window a little bit, but it's nice to have a bit of a story in the tournament games. So maybe a battalion, it gives you boots on the ground, and it just makes it. I don't know. I don't want to say fairer. That's not the right word, but I think maybe that might help it a bit. Otherwise than that, it was a cracking game. It's the second tournament I've ever done. The first one was a few years ago. It was cool to do some more competitive play, see how it went. I did all right.
Racking up more games, so you're on 10 now.
10 in a month, or just over. Yeah, and that's just, I don't think I managed 10 last year.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good. Cool. So, Mr. Tom, over there. Hey. So you took the glorious Blood Angels.
Oh, I did indeed. Yeah, took my Blood Angels out.
And you had the repulsors again.
Yeah, gave my repulsors another spin.
Just 2 of them though.
Just 2 this time, and they were on fire this time. Yeah, they were rolling really good.
You blazed the trail for the first 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Won my first 2 games. They're both really close until like the last turn or so when inevitably like tabled someone or, you know, got some really good objectives. But yes, it was like real cinematic moments all throughout. So even though I was going into the event thinking, oh, it's just going to be full of those people, I got 2 real lucky matchups, and they were very similar to me in the way they played. So it's just like relaxed, just rolling dice, having some fun, and yeah.
Although you did say to me at one point, you suddenly realised what Hellblasters could do.
Yeah. Some guy pointed out that Hellblasters are AP4 and not AP3, and I was just like, my goodness, why are they not in my list? Because that is incredible. I was playing them all weekend when we went up to Warhammer World as AP3. No one pointed that out.
I didn't even realise you said that.
Yeah, I was just like, well,
that's a good learning point.
Taking up more of them.
Yeah, oh, that's ace. Yeah. You do the sort of source lighting stuff on those guys as well, don't you?
Yeah, well, a little bit, yeah. Just from on the guns. I don't actually go on. I don't want to ruin the red. The lovely red I've created. I don't want to go and ruin that with a bit of blue.
So, you came, I think you were 13th. Ben was 13th out of the 40. And Tom 15th, I think?
Yeah.
Very good.
If I'd written a bit of fluff.
If you'd written some fluff.
I'd a bit further up the table.
Hey. What you like. So what else was in, so command points wise, what did you
do? I only had 3 command points. I took a patrol detachment, so 2 units of 5 intercessors. Mm-hmm. They piled into one of the repulsors, a unit of 3 aggressors with the Flamestorm gauntlets, a captain, Primaris captain in Gravis armour, Primaris lieutenant, and 2 units of 3 insectors. 1 unit with the plasma guns, I think they're called Hellfire plasma guns, and 1 unit with just the regular bolters. I say regular bolters, but shenanigans. Yeah, a lot. I didn't have a lot of command points, but using those 3 command points to like move my interceptors around the table was real key. You know, picking them up, deploying them, trying to get Slay the Warlord was.
Can you pick them back up off the
table? It's just like, Waz's, whatchamacallits, Wanderers, like those kind of shenanigans I can just, at the start of my deployment
phase. Waz's whatchamacallits. That's going to be a new segment, I think. New Age of Sigmar segment.
Dan's, shenanigans, so I can pick them up at the start of my movement phase and put them back into reserve.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the phase, I can deploy them 9 inches away.
The same movement phase.
The same movement phase.
Oh,
yeah.
That's quite nice.
So people can hide their warlord behind troops thinking they're safe, but are just like.
It's also quite a cheeky late game objective, Steve.
Yeah, getting a line breaker with them or dropping them onto an objective. Really helpful.
Your chaos, you're not allowed.
Yeah, no. I'm sensing a change.
Yeah.
I don't think Ben will let you.
No, maybe not. Interesting you mentioned just now that you thought it might be full of loads of those type of people.
I think it's because I was one of those people, maybe. I think if there's no those people, you usually are that person, aren't you? I think that's how it works.
This is getting deep now.
So,
it is interesting because you never know when you go to an event
what it's going to be like.
Who, the people you're going to come across, and you don't have that, you've got to try and give your all, whatever, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Like, I'm always surprised, even though I worked in the shop, you worked in the shop, the variety and the background that everybody from the hobby comes from, and they all want to take part in tournaments, a lot of them, or competitive playing, just see what they do. But you can have the most dirty, filthy lists and still be an awesome player and have great fun.
Yeah.
I think everyone gets worried about playing the person who is not there for their opponent, they're not there to have fun, they just want to win at all costs.
I think people are more worried about playing the list.
Yeah.
Like the jet bike list. Actually, that guy could have been a real hoot to play against, but he just did. So everyone's going, I don't want to play against that list. But actually, I guess I'm more focused on now playing the person, and that's always quite fun. Because when it's nice and chillax, you just have a laugh.
That's something Ben talks about, doesn't it? Like the contract between the players. It's a big thing. The more I played, the more I see that. As long as you just want to make sure everyone's having a good time. Doesn't matter if it's a tournament or it's match play, because you can play a narrated game and not have a good time.
So I've been putting it off. So I came 25th this time, which is 15 places better than last time, which I'm really shocked at. So obviously, anyone that's been listening has been listening to me putting together lists. So I took the Hellbrutes, I decided to put them in, and I had 7 command points this time, up from the 3 I had the last time I went. Yeah, the Hellbrutes, I didn't think they were that good, to be honest. They did some stuff in the last game which was useful. First couple of games, the first guy I played, John, poor guy, his dice were ridiculous a lot of the way through. Although there were some key moments where invulnerable saves just came through for him, which was
because he had
useful.
Tzeentch Demon army?
Tzeentch Demons, yeah. So he was running Tzeentch Demons. And he actually went on to come sixth, I think.
Sixth, I think it was.
Yeah.
Top 10.
So he did pretty well. That game finished up 8 points for me. 10 points for him. Now, what I'm saying is I got 8 because of Khorne, and that's it. I just started at 8. So that's what I'm claiming on that one.
Nothing to do with John's last turn at all.
No, nothing at all, nothing at all. So, then I played Alistair and his Orcs. So I've not played Orcs for about 15 years, which is why I only got 1 point in that game.
I think he was the only Orc player there.
I think he's the only Orc player in most of the UK.
And definitely Bristol.
Certainly, you could tell he was really feeling the fact that he didn't have a codex. He really wanted a codex. And that's fair enough. You can understand you want a codex. Especially not getting some of the cool shenanigans, as Tom would call them.
Need your shenanigans.
It adds so much to the game, doesn't it? Like, it's not even just the stratagems, but just the tweaks they make to your units, so they suddenly blend and they work a lot better. It has made does make a huge difference to your game.
So how many points did you get against the guy without the codex?
1.
Oh, just the one.
Yeah, just the 1. And he had 5. So, despite being absolutely gutted that he had no codex, he still won. Interesting though, and this is an important thing, I suppose, to pick up to... So a couple of things that I learned from that game. One was, you got to be really careful, because people kept trying to surround my rhinos and then blow me up so I couldn't get out. But it's quite hard to do that because you have only got to be within 3 and you can leap over the enemy to get there. It doesn't matter if there's a ring all the way around the rhino.
Well, you imagine if you got an exploding tank. You're probably going to duck your head down.
Yeah. So that was interesting. The other thing is to remember to talk to your opponent about their expectations. So Alistair had all this stuff on one side of the table. We set up all our objectives and then I got to choose and I picked the other side of the table. And I think that really threw him. Like he was like, what? Now I've got to move everything and oh my goodness. And I've put my objectives in silly places now. But it's matched play and that's how it works. So,
it's in context. Like he had a lot of models.
Oh yeah. So he had a lot to move.
It's match play and it's a ton. If you play a friendly game, you go, we'll just stay here. But there is an element of trying to get points and win. In this
Yeah, there is.
situation.
But I just think, I suppose, it is quite it's quite often you find that people don't move sides, so it's probably worth just checking before you start putting down objectives. That's what you're going to do. I think that's what I could have done to make the game a bit better for him, a bit more enjoyable for him, was to have just checked before we started setting up. So then last game against Mike. So I know Mike, and he had an Ultramarines army, bit of a mix, Primaris, there was a repulsor in there. Yeah, good game. I managed to win that one 16 points to 10, but I got some lucky cards towards the end. I got Kingslayer after I'd already killed his Warlord, for example, and rolled the 3 points, sorry. Hellbrutes actually did some stuff in that, helped kill off a repulsor, killed a few things in combat, going on about their las cannons, but then they just got in there and battered some stuff. Game got a bit stagnant because it was all centred around this objective 4 for a while, and neither of us could really influence what was going on. But yeah, it was alright. I think Mike had a bit of a difficult weekend with his army, which is why we met like quite low down on the tables, I expect. But it did get me moaning about or going on about in the car. I'm not having the best of time with the Maelstrom missions. And I used to love the Maelstrom missions and the random variety. And maybe it's because the Khorne army is more linear. So when I used to play Eldar that were very maneuverable, I really liked the Maelstrom missions. But with the Khorne army, I much preferred to Nebris, where the objectives were set and you knew where they were and what you were trying to achieve. Because on a couple of occasions this weekend, in fact, either me or my opponent have suffered massively just because the cards we pulled were just shocking.
Yeah, I wonder, and also because just the nature of it's a shuffled random deck that you're taking your cards from for Maelstrom. It's not, you want the mission to be as fair as possible, so it's down to the players of the tournament. So I feel maybe the standard, and there's more in the chapter approved now as well, maybe going for the more, I don't know what's, not standard, but the more traditional missions.
Yeah.
Maelstrom, I think, are great if you just want to pick up game and a bit of a laugh, and because wacky things happen because of them. I do enjoy them because of the stuff that can happen, but I think maybe as a fairer platform, go the other way.
Well, I think the ITC is set.
It's a combination,
isn't it?
yeah. And their missions are set, and there are Maelstrom, but you've also got your set objectives as well, so there's different parts of it. We should have a go sometime and see what we think.
Yep, yeah. Well, I know you watch Tabletop Tactics, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you? Have you seen
every now and again.
Yeah, so I know they were using.
Well, they used a couple for their practice
went over
for LVO, yeah. So, but it'd be quite cool just to see what it's like. Because I've never had a go, and there's a lot more to think about. There's different levels of the game, which is a bit more tactical thinking, so it'd be quite cool to see how that works. And the missions are free, I believe, on Frontline Gaming, aren't they? You can download them, so they'd have to have a look.
I'd probably tag along, but I'll try and stay bottom table just so I can have a bit of fun. I don't think I'd do very well, and I think I'd just stop enjoying it.
Oh, you mean not at the LVO or something like that?
If we were to go to a proper tournament, I mean, not to say today wasn't.
Like
it was just a bit more like light-hearted, like a proper GT. I think I would just not have as much fun.
Yeah, there's a different...
Definitely
that's what we talked about earlier,
is
people are going to win those games, but that's still the opponent.
Oh yeah,
I don't, like we said about Tabletop Tactics, there's quite a lot they talk about, and Lawrence especially, and they say about having fun, and they take sometimes exceptionally strong armies, but they still want to have a laugh when they're doing it.
Yeah.
And an element of story and stuff like that, because it is like, the miniatures are fantastic, and you want to see the cool bit when your platoon commander walks up to Demon Prince and punches him in the nose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So even in a tournament, you want to see those fun little things, don't you? So yeah.
Good. Well, thank you both very much. Well done.
Thank you.
It's good not to have come bottom table, and obviously I'm pleased to be holding you guys up. Supporting you, supporting the thing. So final thing then before we go back to the cast, as it were. So what's next? Tom, what are you working on at the moment, man? What are you pushing? Is it more for the Blood Angels, or there's some heresy on the horizon?
I'm going to build and paint my Elf Union Blood Bowl team.
Yeah. Because
we played a game a couple of days ago, and it is a hoot. Loved it. I just thought I had to do the full Dan Jolly, go out and buy everything for it.
Tom has coined the full Dan Jolly now, which is, I've decided I'm going to do something. I just bought everything related to it.
Decided to get the app rulebook and just go mad. So I'm going to paint them. And then I'm going to pick
I hope you're going to go and buy the pitch now.
if I can get it, if I can find where it's in stock, I'm going to go buy the pitch.
Just to order it.
Is it on G-Dub's website?
Yeah,
I want to support Jim a bit more.
Old? Yeah, but I had a word with Jim, and he can order it for you, so it might be worth having a look.
I'll have a word with Jim.
Right, there we go.
3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Right, yeah, of course, because everything comes in free.
Everything comes in freeze in my
I
army.
did 3, you've done 3 repulsors.
Yeah, need 3
now you're doing 3
Redemptors.
Redemptors. You did, no, you got 4 Dragoons, haven't you?
I only paid 3 for this.
See.
Couldn't fit the 4th in the points.
Yeah, so you need another
wish
9,
I
so
had.
you've got 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Picking up some Emperor's Children for my heresy. At some
Yeah,
point.
right, that's enough. Right, moving on then. So, yeah, you could do some purple dudes.
And then I think I'll probably be out of time for the year.
Yeah. I don't know, it depends. Where the mood takes you, you go mental.
I do go mental. When I get the paintbrush in my hand, I get going. But
You are on it.
You had that really cool tester for your Stormcast, like the blue.
yes,
which I thought was really
I do
nice.
have to paint 1,000 points of Stormcast in Ultramarines colours because
It looks great.
it looks baller.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's interesting because in the Mortal Realms segment, which if I remember rightly is just before this one. No, it's not. It's just after this one. I was talking about hoping that you do some Stormcast so you get the Lord Ordinator, the guy from the guy with the 2 hammers.
Yeah,
the
he's
builder man. Yeah.
And a Star Drake.
And a Star Drake. It's going to build him a Star Drake.
Yeah.
So in your
with a cannon on
in
it.
my 1,000 point list, it's just like Star Drake and some dudes. That's it.
That's cool. So Ben, what about you, man? What are you doing next apart from going on holiday?
Yeah, well, in 2 weeks I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks, so I've been pretty much no hobby except for some reading, so yeah, ridiculous. But I picked up today, as we've all enjoyed a bit of Blood Bowl, and we don't have a Skaven team between us yet, so I picked that up, which I think you want to get hold of at some point. So we've got 5 different teams between the 4 of us now, if you include the core box. The goblins, humans, orcs, Skaven, and
Elves.
Alf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool to have a see how they all play.
Yeah.
As you've already said, entering Golden Demon, and I've said potentially about entering Marbo, but I've already started on very quickly putting a base together for maybe a Stonehorn or Thunder Tusk.
Yeah.
So have a go. It's a bigger model, but it's one of my favourite models out of... But Ogre's one of my favourite ranges, but that particular model I think is fantastic. So paint something that inspires you, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But for the rest of the year, I need to get an AOS army done, and then I've got an army for the three of the big systems from G-Dubs.
Good work.
Yeah, and then it's try and get all the backlog done.
Yeah. Whilst more comes in the front.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like that. Well, we've seen that new knight will be getting added to the Mechanicus at some point.
Yeah.
My Crusader needs 2 of them flanking.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the big one from the Forge World.
Oh, you want that? Yeah.
Get that on my painting desk right now.
It could go right next to the other knight that's still in a bag in pieces.
And the Reaver Titan.
And the same
Underneath the desk.
under the desk.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear. Cool.
What about you for the core? What's next?
Oh, everybody's heard about me and my core.
You got Demon Prince
anything I can find. Well, the Demon Prince. So Ben said, I should paint some Nurgle. And then I went to paint some Nurgle, and what actually happened is I started painting a Khorne Demon Prince, because I just can't help myself. But I am painting a Nurgle guy as well, so.
I do agree with Ben that I think you'd enjoy having a slightly different playstyle to your army, so getting some Nurgle done would be quite different. Adding a few of them elements to it.
Yeah, to be honest, what I really like to do is just get Jetbike Custodes army.
Would you?
Yeah. that's how I want to go with it. I'm coming back. Emperor. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Anybody wishes to buy a Khorne army? It's all good. And I'm going to go and do the full Dan Jolly and just buy everything.
Well, you've already done that with the Elder last year.
Yeah. Oh dear. That's not repeat. No, I love chaos. You know I love chaos, so I'll stay with it. I'd quite like to do a Forge World sort of demon engine army.
That'd be cool.
Which ones?
Like I know you said you're going to. I know you said you're going to march on Warhammer World and tell them they've got to have people take battalions, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get, the Blood Slaughterer, the little things, and the Impaler.
Yeah, but I didn't mean, so when I said that, I didn't mean just that. I'd take battalion to start with. Which most armies can do, if you're playing a 2K, which most tournaments tend to be 2K.
If I just want to take Brass Scorpions.
Well, yeah, it's fair enough. You want to turn up to a tournament with 3 Brass Scorpions?
Yeah. I got the bark to base them.
Yeah, that's that.
Cool. Well, Ben told me I was allowed to talk to you guys for 10 minutes for this segment. So that's, we're up to about half an hour.
Sorry,
So thank you both very much. I'm glad you had a good time. Next event, I don't think we've got an event booked, have we, as such, but we are going to Warhammer Fest. So
yeah,
I'm sure we'll record something cool up there.
May.
Right. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us in the Galaxy of War. And now we're going to go on to the Mortal Realms. We're going to talk about Lord Ordinatus. There we go. Cheers, guys.
And we're still getting super excited about Malign Portents, which sounds...
It is hot enough.
So, I mean,
there's dice now.
Yeah. So, I got out a book the other day, because this whole thing reminds me of a campaign that, for me, defined a period of my hobby. Can you guess which book that is?
Storm of Chaos.
Storm of Chaos. Absolutely. Storm of Chaos. So, Storm of Chaos was a campaign where it was the introduction of Archaon, and you had his name I've forgotten, like a kind of avatar of Sigmar.
Voltan,
that's it. And they fought off, and they produced models for Voltron, and they produced models for Archaon. In fact, they produced 3 models for Voltan.
Yeah, they had young Voltan, mid Voltan, and epic Voltan
on a massive shiny steed.
Yeah,
and he carried Galmaraz. The Emperor gave him Galmaraz, and he stopped the Storm of Chaos. And the whole campaign was about working out whether he stopped the Storm of Chaos or it actually happened. And it was fantastic. It was so well supported. It had models for the characters. It had its own codex. It had a website. It was done so well. And then it
had some cool armies as well, didn't it? It had the,
it did.
The Dark Elf Slaneshi one was my favourite.
Yes.
And the Troll Slayer one.
Yeah. And it wrote the background for, Warhammer. And I think after that, there was a lot of campaigns that just didn't cut the mustard. They kind of thought they could capture the same thing, but without putting as much support in. This is the first time I've seen anything like the amount of support for a campaign. There's a book. It's on pre-order this weekend. It's got dice. It's got a whole codex. There's 4 character models that they've released. There's a story all the time coming out. The stories are wicked. Have you read them?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
It's free Black Library content. That's what it is. They're really short, but they're really they're bringing the whole thing to life, and I am so excited about it. Well, that's my Orruks have come out of it. I've dropped my Space Wolf army temporarily to get my Orruks done. That's kind of how important it is.
That
to me.
says a lot.
It says a lot, doesn't it? I'm so excited about it. I want to talk about the painting schedule first. So the first thing was the Getting Started box set, which we're both working on, aren't we?
Yeah.
And
actually, yes, I can officially say I am actually working on it. It's amazing.
And then, month 2 is buy and paint your Alliance's Harbinger. So, I will obviously be struggling with the fact this guy's covered in mushrooms, but the Fungoid Cave Shaman, Snazgar, Stink Mullet. Which is amazing. And your one will be Dark Oath War Queen Marakar Blood Sky. I'm fairly certain that Keldrek Knight of Shrouds and the Lord Ordinator Vorus Starstrike, all of them might end up in my collection at some point, because there's not a single one of those models that I'm not utterly in love with. So
I'm really hoping that Tom, because he's on about doing Stormcast, slowly. But I really hope he picks up that guy. It'd be just nice to have another one.
Yeah.
Picked up.
So, and then month 3 is, there's kind of 3 units for each faction. So I'll give you an example. For my Iron Jaws, they've recommended Orruk Maw-Crusher, the Brutes, and the Mega Boss. Which luckily I've bought all of those with my birthday and Christmas money. So, I'm all set.
Do you have to paint one, or do you have to paint all 3?
All 3, yeah. I think.
You have to paint all 3?
Yeah, it says
what have I got to do?
No, one of the faction appropriate units shown below. So you just have to do one.
So what my choice is?
For Nurgle, it's the Nurgle Rotbringer Glockin. Or
oh my gosh.
Nurgle Rotbringer Magath Lord.
Oh yeah.
Or the Rotbringer Putrid Blight Kings.
Ah.
That's a cool little start to an army, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd end up with a behemoth, a getting started box set, and a special character. So I don't think you can go far wrong with that, to be honest. And there's a painting competition for all 3.
Yeah.
And we now know a lot more about the structure of it, thanks to... Sorry about the clicking in the background, guys. Thanks to the new releases. So, it's a branching narrative. The actual campaign is called the Dread Solstice campaign. And it's in 3 chapters, starting on the February the 15th. And I'm guessing that it'll kind of we'll know more about it as it happens. But,
where are you reading this from? On the Malign Portents website?
No, it was on one of the community posts.
Oh right, okay.
In fact, the same one which released the Knights. So the Dread Solstice is the global campaign within the umbrella of the Malign Portents.
Ah right, okay, cool.
So it's a huge sort of choose your own adventure story. So you remember, like, those books that are incredibly written by Games Workshop that started that whole, you're in a room and there's a door and the window is rattling. What do you do next? Turn to page 15 to open the window and page 20 to open the door. And that. So it says it's a bit like that. Choose your own adventure story, and then you kind of work your way through, and every choice has consequences and leads its way through. So quite excited to see the sort of nitty gritty of that. You have to play and sort of have it registered for it to count in the campaign, like with all these sorts of things. And you can get the FAQ and schedule all on this kind of post, which I'll post a link to. I'm really excited to see how this turns out, because I feel like we're shaping the background of the Mortal Realms here, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And I think you've got 4 new characters, which we'll build a story about over the next half a year. But they're all also bringing back ones that we know and love, in inverted commas. So Nagash is coming back. He's getting a new battle tome imminently. And there's some demented elf woman coming back with her corrupted elf things.
Morathi.
Yeah, Morathi is coming back. And that's a big hint about Slaanesh in there, fella. Because she talks in the video about how she's been twisted into a form that pleases her tormentor. And her soul was taken by Slaanesh, wasn't it, at the end of the... so I reckon you're going to see Slaanesh soon as well. So there's so much going on with it.
To chase her?
No, using her.
Oh, right,
As a pawn. We don't know until we see more, but more of the background. But really exciting, really exciting.
It's good, isn't it? It's really cool. So let's talk a bit about some of the stuff. So the elves, it was so exciting that day, that post coming out, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, even though it's the wrong kind of elves, it's exciting because it gives so many indicators onto the sort of where they've taken that particular faction of the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
As to what they're going to do with the others. And you just get glimpses of kind of new aesthetics and, like the kind of Medusa-y, Greek demoness thing. It's brilliant. She looks flipping savage as well.
Yeah. I think they look fantastic. And It is really nice to see them not... Like, it's lovely to have seen, like, the Caradron Overlords and the Fire Slayers, which are completely fresh forces. But it's also nice to see what happens when you go beyond what was around in the world that was with something that already exists.
They've taken one of those sub-factions that we've talked about and blown it up. This is part of an army book, a small part of the Dark Elf army, and they've blown it up into a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, oh, crikey, you're going to have, like, Phoenix Guard armies and White Lions armies.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, whole thing steamed off of that. And Swordsmaster of Hoeth armies. It's going to be amazing. Oh, it's so good. So good. It's really kindled like a fledgling. Because over the last year I've been excited about it, I've been learning about it, I've been dipping my toe in the water, but this has really kind of put the fire up my butt. I'm playing my first game with my Orcs next week against John, from Shades of Chaos. So that's quite exciting. And he talked me through how to build an army. Bit disappointed with some elements of it, because I can't use any of my Orruk models as battle line, unless my whole Orruk army is Iron Jaws. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can't use any Iron Jaws model as battle line unless I'm using the army keyword, allegiance, Iron Jaws.
Iron Jaws, yeah.
So if I wanted to do a mixed destruction army, I'm going to have to find other battle line units.
Yeah, unless the majority of the army, unless 80% of the army is Iron Jaws.
Is that what it needs to be to use the keyword?
Well, what it is you can take I think I'm right in saying you could take 20% as allies,
right,
and not break the allegiance. So in a 2,000 point army, you could have 1,600 points of Orruks under the Iron Jaws keyword, and therefore use them as battle line, and then have 400 points of Moonclan Grots as allies, and that wouldn't break your Iron Jaws allegiance.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go to start with, because we're going to play a 1,000 point game, and I don't have 1,000 points I don't think I do. We'll see. I might be able to get the brutes put together, and then I can use them. But that depends on whether Rob can get them to me. I'm pontificating, because I had to buy those offline today in the store opening. Because they'd sold out of the mini box, the 40 quid kind of starters box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the brutes and the shaman in. So I'll pick that up today, and Rob will bring it along to painting night. But I'm really excited. Really excited. Can't wait to get my hands done.
I am too. To be honest, it'll be good to get the Nurgle done, because the Maggotkin really excite me for Age of Sigmar. Quite a lot, doing something a bit different, and I want to add in a few bits and bobs. I definitely want to get some of those Blight Kings on Rotflies. I think they look fantastic.
Yeah, they do.
They're just great. They just make me chuckle. They really capture Nurgle and the whole kind of... It's quite funny, but it's really quite dark as well.
I think when you've done this month and you've finished your hobby Lent, I think you should go for the big dude.
What, the Glock King guy?
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sakes!
As a centerpiece to the army, I do. I do, because I quite like the little story of them.
Yeah, I love them. They're really
having an argument.
They're great, aren't they?
And they're arguing over who won the battle, and they're all the fact that they were all sat on the same thing.
And then the Glotkin's like, the big guy is like,
me?
Grrp.
yeah, it's good. It's really good. So, I'm thinking as well of using some of your bark idea, to make some themed terrain to go with it as well.
Yes, mate. Yes. So that's what's so good about this bark being like cheap.
Yeah.
That I found, because I really want to do. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, it'll be awesome.
Your link was wrong, by the way. It's not cork.co.uk. That takes you to a travel website for Ireland. So,
but that's okay because I deleted that entire recording.
Did we?
Yeah, that was in the first. But that error of mine was in the first attempt.
That was in
that I deleted.
That was in the perfect hobby desk. That was
the
greatest hobby desk
that we
in the
had
world.
to do a tribute to.
Yeah, excellent. So I'm going to use that cork, especially like the big rounds. You can get rounds that look like
it's cork
tree
store.
Trunks. Cork store.
www.corkstore.co.uk.
Yeah, I'm going to do trees. I'm going to really go to town with it, so that I can bring that kind of scenery with me to the gaming club in a big box, so I can play my army on a themed set of scenery. I'm perhaps getting a tiny bit carried away, Dan.
Never.
No, never.
No.
Refuse to believe. Today, I got Maw Crusher.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you didn't tell me that yet.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to leave it as a surprise.
Oh, you got a Maw Crusher, mate. I love that. I love it.
I could use the shield at the base as a basis for a reenactment shield. It's that big. It's like a plate. I can eat my dinner off of it.
It's huge, isn't it?
It's so big. I'm really excited about him. He's such a nice model. Do you reckon, because there's a lot of kind of, your models have to be right, I know, but do you reckon I could get away with putting the armoured head on and calling him the normal Maw Crusher?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's happening then, because I love because I was going to do him like a red, so the orc on top will be white, won't he? His armour will be primarily white. I'm going to do and his face armour will be white as well. So I'm going to do a kind of a red body with perhaps white in the rings. I don't know, or maybe that's too much on the red and white theme. If you've got any ideas as a colour to go with it, answers on a postcard. It's red and white theme orcs, primarily white.
That's brilliant. I'm so glad you've got that. I love that model. Really good.
I didn't when I first saw it.
No,
because it's one of those models that doesn't photograph very well.
Yeah.
And then you see it and you're like, oh my days. So I've just talked for 17 minutes solidly, practically, about the Mortal Realms.
I mean, I imagine hijacking a whole segment.
I know.
Now, do you know what's really cool? What's so good is if you go back
and listen to episode 1.
You definitely should, because it's fantastic. Our early episodes. If you go back and listen to episode 1, in this segment, it's all about me getting stupidly excited and trying to explain to you why Age of Sigmar is the best thing since sliced bread. And I spend a lot of the segment talking, would you believe?
No one would believe that, Dan.
And the same in sort of episode 2. But as you go through the episodes, you can see the journey that you go on.
Yeah.
Or hear the journey that you go on. And the sort of the realization, and I know we talked last episode, didn't we, about that gaming board that was like that epiphany moment for you up in Warhammer World.
Oh, it definitely was.
And I'm so happy because it is, it is just such a fantastic world and setting, and I love it. I love it. And I'm really pleased that you do too, so.
Yeah.
Bit of a tear.
I've been listening to, I've forgotten the name of the series, but the one you lent me?
The Hunt for Nagash.
The Hunt for Nagash, yeah. Very good. I wouldn't have trusted that vampire.
No.
So obvious. But
yeah.
Every time they do the, who will stand in the face of overwhelming odds? Only the faithful. I think of you every time they do that.
Yeah.
Who will be victorious? Yeah. Only the faithful. Love it.
Who shall stand while all outs fail?
Only the faithful.
Yeah.
There we go. We could do these audiobooks. We should do them.
We could. I'd love to do that. That would be ace. Do the voices.
Excellent.
And on that note of career change, shall we head off and see what wonders the community holds?
Yes. Yeah. Let's do that.
We shall.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We will see you in the community. Hail to the community. Hello, community. Thank you very much for listening. Ben has been off and investigating some community goings on, haven't you, mate? Today, in fact.
I have. So I suppose if you listen to us long enough will know that Dan and I both worked in Games Workshop Plymouth. So it's kind of a hobby touchstone, isn't it, Dan?
It is indeed.
Managed by Mike Bennett. And today it's undergone its second refit in my memory. I can remember the first one, where it went from the little plastic table with the silly chairs for the painting area, and they brought in all the nice raised gaming tables and stools, and they had the grey aesthetic back rather than the red and white one. It's now Games Workshop Plymouth has gone.
Yeah,
it has been reborn as Warhammer Plymouth, and it looks shiny and fantastic. And it's got one of those new computer terminals that I really want in my house.
Like the giant iPad thing.
Yeah, if Games Workshop accidentally drives past my house and drops one out of a lorry on the way to a refit, I'm not going to be upset about that. It's got a fresh coat of paint. It's looking lovely. They've done some cool little things to it. It's brighter because they've painted the panel at the top white, so it makes it feel bigger and fresher. Not that it felt big today, because it was heaving. Absolutely jam-packed. So much so that my kids immediately just went and sat under the tables.
Yes, I saw it.
I was like, yeah, no, we're not going in there.
Lurking grots.
So it was great to talk to Mike. He was not able to give me an interview while I was there, which wasn't surprising because it was like, I think there was about probably at least 15 customers there per staff member, rammed into the place. It's really buzzing in there. And the games were looking great. The guys are really good at putting on good kind of, participation games. And they've done a really cracking job. They had like an Arena of Death thing going on and everyone was, enjoying that. Tables look great. They've, been working really hard to get everything sorted and they've got their window displays out that they've been working on for a while. So that they're kind of mostly finished. So it's just looking fab. The painting competition had a number of very good painters have entered it, so it's going to be pretty stiff, including Andy Burridge is from Sustained Fire. He's entered his very nice Mortarion. And
that orc thing as well from Chris.
Chris Manley. Chris Manley is the Mad Doc.
He is a mad dog. And the best, you put up a picture and you're like, guess who's done this? And I was like, hands down, Chris Manley's done that.
Yeah. And we'll post pictures of that. In fact, by the time you've listened to this, it will have been and released as a model of the day for us because he captures orcs better than anybody I know.
Yeah. He
does looted vehicle perfectly. And this is we've been talking about proxies quite a lot, but this is a proxy stomper. And it's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Phil Walsh, who we've also talked about before. He's the chap that kind of drove my standards of painting up significantly. Just as an example, for like the first time I came back into Games Workshop Plymouth, right back when I got back into the hobby after a hiatus as a teenager, late teens, I entered a painting competition and competed against him. And it was very close between the two of us. And he was much better than me in some areas. And he just drove my hobby up all the time because I was constantly trying to make sure I was as good as him. Little things though, like I'd bring in a model and he'd go, there's a mould line there. So I became like absolutely anal about mould lines because I'd give him a model and I'd be like, yeah, you find a mould line on that bitch. So, he's entered a wonderful Exorcist. And we had a little chat about how badass a Primaris Exorcist must be. If anyone doesn't know anything about exorcists, they're space marines that, as part of their initiation, have to be possessed by a demon, and maintain their sanity and sense of identity, and either drive the demon out themselves or be compos mentis once the librarians and other psychers have driven the demon out themselves. If they survive that process, which not all of them do by any stretch of the imagination, they are allowed to become exorcist space marines. Apart from the Grey Knights, they are the best demon hunters in the galaxy. In fact, they're rumoured to be a Grey Knight kind of successor, or their gene seed has been taken from a Space Marine chapter, and their creation process was guided and structured by the Grey Knights to see if they could make Space Marines who could do a better job than a normal Space Marine.
Yeah, they don't sound much cop to me.
So they're quite cool. He's doing those. Kind of gone off the community section a bit. So it was buzzing. Yeah, great day. Couldn't stay there for long because of the kids, and it was just too busy. But really, really nice to see the store coming along.
Did you get the captain?
I got the captain, and I got my card filled out. Thank you very much for my birthday money, everybody. So the chaplain
so when do you
will
go
be
back to
mine.
get the chaplain?
I think March.
All right. And what about the dice? Did you get dice?
Maybe.
Ah.
And they're very nice.
Good.
Yeah, so exciting. Very good. Other place I've been was Plymouth Association of Wargamers convention, or PAW. It's an annual thing. It's usually very good, and it was very good today. It's the first time I've ever been. And it was everything I hoped it would be. So loads of great demonstration tables. Some fantastic World War II and historical stuff. They had the Battle for Salem's Church, which is a American Civil War battle. And the guys who'd done it were playing the battle, and they built the board based on the engineering maps from the time. So they had the roads in the right place, and the buildings in the right place, and the woods in the right place. So good. So good.
It's great, isn't it?
And had a chat with the guys from Shades of Chaos who were demoing Outlands 2. So it's the launch of Outlands 2, 12 o'clock this morning. So that'll be some Friday night previous to this obviously being released. And you'll hear that in the Into the Wild section, hopefully. And also Tom, his privateer, Piston Privateers, had a chat to him, and that'll be in that section too. So, but the event was really cool. Loads of traders there, loads of participation games, loads of table space to actually play your own games, bring and buy, loads of companies that I didn't know existed that are local and selling awesome stuff. So, I got.
It's always good for that. It was a real shame that I couldn't come down today, really, and because I was working.
Yeah. But there we go.
But there'll be another time. So, and I know there's a tournament going on there that Cross Swords help organise. So hopefully that's gone quite smoothly today, and we'll continue on tomorrow.
Yeah. So I met the guy. It's Ash.
Ant.
Sorry, Ant. Met him today. Bumped in. So from Cross Swords.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really good day, actually. Came away absolutely buzzing. Got to see somebody had Titanicus set up. Haven't seen that all out on a table in person in a long time. So that was very cool. But anyway, I posted a bunch of pictures today. So people will be able to have a look at those. They're good. It's been a good day for the community.
Good. So, just now you mentioned proxies, and I feel the need to continue the bromance, because I've listened to, I listened to episode 5 of, Pro Painted.
Yeah.
So they talked a bit about proxies in there.
Yeah, they did.
Really interesting. It's quite cool, actually, hearing it from the side of a couple of guys who, use proxies for what proxies are for, I suppose, is how I'd put it. So, create models and armies like, Mike's squats that we've seen recently.
Yeah.
And then, Matt is doing the Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
Kyrgyzstan, not Kyrgyzstan. That sounds like a Middle Eastern country. Kyrgyzstan. goblins, using the Overlord rules, which are really cool. And I know Rob's doing Be'lakor, but as Archeon. And, that's what Proxion is all about. So that's a really good segment, in it. And some good stuff, good overview of the, Heat 1 of the AOS Grand Tournament as well. So definitely worth a listen. Say, continue the bromance. Love you guys. Sorry, dude, I couldn't resist.
Spanner.
Yeah. Cool. So, with that, my friend, I think it is time. The wilds are calling.
Yep. The wilds are calling.
Yeah. So, you've done a couple of interviews with people from the community about games to stick into the wilds, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
So, should I say goodnight now? Is that it from me in this episode?
Thankfully, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, enjoy your foray into the wilds. I shall leave you in Ben's capable hands. Guys, I have had a cracking episode 17. Enjoy Into the Wilds, and I'll catch you next time.
Hi guys, welcome to Into the Wilds. Not going to hear much from me on my own. I spent yesterday, as we already heard, or today actually, at PAW and the store rebranding for Games Workshop Plymouth. I managed to chat to Ross from Shades of Chaos Games. He was quite busy doing intro games, so big thanks to him for stopping for a minute and having a chat. He's just released Outlands 2, him and John. And he talked a little bit about some of the things that they're planning on doing in the future. So, I'm going to go over to that interview now, and we'll see you on the other side.
So, Ross, Shades of Chaos Games, Plymouth Association of Wargaming Convention, and you're showing off Blood Bowl.
Yes, correct.
No, come on, what is it? Tell me about it.
Outlands.
Outlands.
It's a sci-fi spaghetti western.
Right.
With a low model count, so you will get in trouble with the better half.
No, I'm always in trouble with the better half, aren't I, Jay? I got a nod. Now, you use, what models do you use? Because I like your team. I'll put some photographs up of those.
Well, you can use whatever models you like. It doesn't matter if it's 25mm, it's 28mm, 30mm, whatever you wish. Because the bigger the model, it's fine either way, because you can see the enemy as well as they can see you. So,
yeah.
What you use. I have a Chaos Cotus team painted up.
You do?
I also have a Reaper Bones team painted up.
Yeah, you're the guy who introduced me to Reaper Bones.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So, it's the second edition you're releasing today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cleaner rewrite of the rules.
A complete rewrite, or is there key things that you want to tell us about?
There's a tweak. We found after about 50 games that sniper rifles are pretty OP.
Yeah.
So we toned them down a bit.
Yeah.
But no, we're very happy with the game system, the basic system, how it played initially. So we rewrote and built up from there, really.
Yeah, and you've changed another thing about the turn sequencing, haven't you?
Yeah, that's correct. And the points values for abilities.
Yeah.
It's still the same rules before. You can't have more than one ability per level.
Yeah.
But no, we thought it was too expensive, and we wanted a team to have at least 3 or 4 abilities per game.
Yeah.
By the end of the sequence.
Yeah. And you guys have started to branch off a little bit from Outlands, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a few little projects we're working on.
Am I allowed to tell you, to ask you about those, or are you gonna?
There may be a Strike Force game.
Oh, tell me about that.
It's a game we have higher model counts.
Yeah.
It's more of an army-based game, which can be used in tournament play.
Right, because
more competitive.
Because this isn't about tournament play at all, is it?
No, this is a friendly game where you can drop in and out anytime you want.
It's all about the narrative.
That's it. And it doesn't matter if you're a level 10 team playing against a level 2 team. It is totally interchangeable. Whereas if you were playing, I don't know, a game possibly called Strike Force, it's a single one-off game, like you would if you're playing the equivalent of your 40k or your larger army games like that.
Okay. So the rules going to be a lot different.
It's still based in the same universe. Mercenaries rather than nobodies. A band of ragtag civilians cobbling together abilities. So yeah, these guys are specialist trained and they're skilled. There could quite possibly be, maybe, I don't know, possibly a zombie game out there, maybe in the pipeline.
I've seen photographs of this. Tell me about the zombie game, because I really like the look of it. I like the noise bit.
Yeah,
just give us one little tiny peek. Go on.
I'm not sure that. Go on then. It is
it's radio, not television, so they don't know what I was doing to you then.
I'm not going to go there. There is very noise-based. For example, if you missed a shot, it went wide and hit a vehicle with a car alarm. You're just distracting the original attacker and causing a lot of trouble for yourself.
Because the zombies come to the noise.
Oh yeah. I mean, the spawn points only introduce D2 number of zombies per spawn point, but possibly 8 to maybe 12 zombies coming in at every round. It soon stacks up.
Yeah.
Do you really want to take the shot? Is the question. You take the shot, you make a noise, they're going to be chasing you instead.
I think it's a really cool system. I'm really looking forward to having a go at it. Let's get myself some zombie models.
Possibly. There's a lot of zombie models out there to find.
So one of the things that you're really good at is creating themed tables, and you've got 2 really nice themed tables here today. So tell me a bit about those 2.
Well, the Planet of Paradise, which is where we theme Outlands. It was a massive hub for a hoity-toity, the rich of the rich, where they had the hot tubs and it was a lush planet. That's before it all went to hell and blew up. And they bugged out and left all the servants and the nobodies behind. Anyone that had no money couldn't get off. So we've got the Outlands, which is the Badlands, the wastes. What used to be lush green valleys is now dead trees, barren rock, hardly any greenery at all. And tables like this to my right, which is Power Prime, what's left of the hub. The main city itself is now more than a town.
And this is a spaceport.
Pretty much. It's now shut down. No spaceships work. There's only one spaceport on the whole of the planet. You can get anybody on and off. But the buildings are all cobbled together, riveted and welded. There's nothing left of the glass-panelled monstrosities that were there before.
And you've used the filling station from TC Combat,
obviously TC Combat,
as the Metro Rail station, which I think is a fantastic idea. It looks really, really good there, actually.
Hover tram, lovely stuff that they produce. I'm sure we're going to be getting more soon.
But then you've got this thing here. I don't know what to call it other than a thing.
I call it the Rat Hive.
The Rat Hive is amazing, and that's made out of corrugated card and polystyrene.
It's all cardboard boxes.
It's cardboard. So that looks like polystyrene from there.
It's all cardboard boxes.
Oh wow!
Bamboo skewers. It's just Costa stir sticks. Other obviously coffee shops are available.
Costa literally fund scenery projects around the world.
Pretty much, yeah. And then on the side they do coffee apparently.
Yeah. I don't ever go there for the coffee, I go there for the sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. We didn't say that.
No.
Oh no, wait, you're recording this, right?
Maybe. So what are you looking forward to next?
Book 2, I think, from Outlands.
Book 2 from Outlands.
Psychic Rules.
Oh, you missed that bit off earlier, so we've got Psychers now, have we?
Possibly. This is possibly, couldn't possibly say. But spice interacts with people in different ways. We know if you jam a spice crystal into a gun, you could have now exploding ammunition in your guns. It could morph it into having electric projectiles instead.
So spice crystals are kind of the currency, the objectives of the Outlands game, aren't they? So you're basically playing the game to either kill your opponents or collect spice.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we had a demo earlier on with father and son, who initially were really, really nice people, and eventually turned on each other. So I think they're going home in separate cars. But they had a great time. There was no spice collecting in that mission. It was straight up kill.
No, we've never played a game like that either.
No. But yeah, spice is a massive currency. It affects things in different ways.
And apparently gives humans psychic powers.
Only females.
Oh, amazing. So we're talking like, what's the fantasy book? My brother's going to kill me for forgetting this. What's this? I'm going to ask my wife. What's that massive book series that Dan and I read where only the women are psychics? Wheel of Time. It came to me in the end. Wheel of Time.
Check it out.
Yeah, Wheel of Time.
So all psychers are women, but not all women are psychics.
Yeah.
Ways.
So couldn't it turn them into mutants? Because I've got a few mutant models that need using.
Possibly. I mean, they're near enough mutants right now anyway. After the corporation left, they turned on themselves. You can buy robotic limbs and things like that, but people now start developing extra limbs.
Oh, right. What? Just growing out the side of the head?
Possibly. You don't know what Spice can do to you over the long term. But the psychic abilities, I mean, you can phase shift through buildings, you can phase shift through rock, you can teleport people, but as the book one, if you do roll a 1 on the dice, there's always an epic fail as well as a critical succeed. So things can go wrong. You can meld into the rock, you can teleport yourself.
Like old Space Marine Terminator, stuck in a rock.
That's it.
Nice.
Anything can happen in Outlands.
Brilliant. Well, I really enjoy playing Outlands, and I'm a big fan of it, and I'd recommend anyone having a go. Because, I mean, we talk about buy-ins a lot on our podcast, and, an easy buy-in. You guys have made a game where if you've got scenery, the book is not expensive, and the gang, you can use whatever you want.
Any 5 models you want.
Any 5 models you want.
As long as you have dice, tape measure, 5 models, all you need is a rulebook.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Ross. Thanks for talking to me.
No worries, man. Always a pleasure.
I'll see you next Friday at Gameplay.
Excellent. So welcome back, and I had a chat straight after that almost with Tom, who does Piston Privateers, which is a game that hasn't yet been released, but it's got some really cool themes. And he's actually working on producing a set of MDF figures to go with it, which I've posted before, but I'll post some pictures of those up again so people can see. They're really cool little boats. Set in a kind of dystopian future where things have gone backwards a little bit. And most of the British Isles is underwater and has a Caribbean theme. So let's go and have a chat to him, and I'll see you on the other side of that one.
So I've managed to find Tom, who is the creator of Piston Privateers.
That's right, it's a dystopian industrial revolution where the world is flooded, where all the polar ice caps have melted.
Yeah.
So where we are right now, over in Plymouth, would be about 50 metres underwater.
It's a good job I can swim.
Yeah, I can swim quite well. And due to all the global warming, what is left of the UK is currently like the Bahamas.
Oh, very nice.
Reefs and everything. Well, it would be a lovely world if it wasn't for the fact that everyone's scrapping over what remains of humanity.
Yeah.
And everything. It's a good old little pirate ship game where you get to blow each other up and to the death and boarding actions, and there are Krakens as well.
Everyone needs Kraken.
Everyone needs Kraken.
Everyone needs Kraken.
We have our pet Kraken called Dave.
Yeah,
the Kraken.
And you produce these MDF models as well, don't you?
Yeah, they're all lace cut in 3mm. They come in a 95 by 65 plate. You just pop the parts out, put the bits together, and you're ready to go assembling.
And I love the ships when they're all done and painted. And you file down the sails and put a bit of rope on, and they look amazing.
Yeah, take 10 minutes, a bit of a Dremel tool. Just go in there. You can get some real nice details.
So, is this released as a game yet, fully out, or are we still?
We're still
in beta testing.
It's still in beta testing, just because it's just me at the moment, because all the rest of the crew's round. Basically, it's just taking.
You didn't throw them overboard, did you?
No, in all fairness, they were talking about maybe making their own games. I was like, no, I can't have that.
No.
So yeah, the game is currently in test, but we'll be going to a lot of UK events this year.
Yeah.
Where people are more than welcome to come over and say hello, have a little game test, and try and see if they're the best pirate around. In fairness.
Excellent. So I'll take some photographs of this lovely board because there's some amazing details on here. I'm sure Dan will absolutely love this. I particularly like that one over there.
Yes, yeah, the seaboard.
The seaboard. And we'll pop them up on the page so everyone can have a look.
Yeah.
But nice for talking to me, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Welcome back to the episode. And that's kind of it for me. I'm on my own. I can't do signing offs as well as Dan. So I suppose I can't say grab yourself some refreshments, but something along the lines of have an awesome 2 weeks, and we'll see you then. And looking forward to chatting to you guys as always on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can look us up there on @the 2P's podcast, all one word, no hashes or hyphens or anything like that. And if you've got anything you want to ask us, any questions, anything you'd like us to talk about, then just send us a message and we'll be in contact. See you next time, guys.